Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and today's an interesting one for this series because technically I have already backed, received, and talked to you guys about the game I'm going to be going over today. Well over 2 years ago, this was on Kickstarter, and it was a crazy ride watching it go from just the simple base game to all of the expansions and all the new stuff and just nostalgia. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my earlier Kickstarters that I backed, definitely one of my most expensive ones that I backed, and a great game overall that I've been meaning to talk about more on this channel. However, at this point, they are running a second printing campaign for this over on Gamefound, so better time than any to tell you guys about why I backed Masters of the Universe, the board game, Clash for Eternia. This is made by Simon Games, or Kaman Games, however you wish to pronounce it, and contains a lot of minis. And that's just the base game, let alone that plus the expansion. You're getting tons of characters, all of which are based off of like the toys from the 80s, which to me like is amazing to see them come back to life and on my table and playing with it and everything like that. The game itself is awesome. I love it a lot. I've been playing it a lot more lately. It's something I'm going to bring to the channel very soon because I'm understanding the solo mode a little bit more. So I figure now's the better time than any to just kind of go back into it and really talk to you guys a little bit more about it, especially because the campaign doesn't really add too much to the game, but does have a few extra add-ons. So if you were part of the original Kickstarter campaign and you went all in, like me, for example, you can get away pretty cheap on this one because you only need like 1 or 2 new things that they're, offering for the campaign rather than having to go like all in on a very expensive piece. The other cool thing about it is, like I said, they are now offering this overseas. I don't believe this was available in Europe when the original Kickstarter went, which is amazing, how much money that made. So now it's doing even better. So it's just getting it out to the world a little bit more, giving people more of an idea of what it's about. If you are a Masters of the Universe fan, I highly recommend you at least check this out and see for yourself if this is something you like. This is a battle skirmish game at its core. If you're even somewhat interested in the IP, why don't we just go ahead and check it out anyway. So let's go ahead and head on over to the Gamefound website, to the Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia campaign, and see what we have, because I have the power. And here we are once again with Masters of the Universe, the board game, Clash for Eternia. Now, there was another Masters of the Universe board game that was released roughly around the same time as this one. I believe it was called Fields of Eternia. I think that was more of an area control style game. That was one that was more exclusive to Europe, whereas this one was more exclusive to the United States, which is really a shame, but also very impressive when you look back at that Kickstarter, seeing how much it made, knowing that it really just came from funding within North America, Canada, I think somewhere, whatever. But none of the European nations were available or able to get the game through that Kickstarter because of shipping laws and things along that ways. But now, as you can see just right up here, now shipping worldwide. It's able to get everywhere. Anybody that is a fan of Master Universe, that is a fan of He-Man, that loves this particular series is going to be able to get this game. And this is a fantastic game. Again, this is a game that is a skirmish game at heart, where it is a controller player versus up to 4 other players. So it's a controller versus player game. The controller will have control over 3 characters, and the players would be, 1 to 4 players, each one either controlling 1 character, or if it's like one-on-one, then you control up to 4 characters, so you can have 1 character, 2, 3, 4, versus the controller's 3. It sounds a little confusing along that ways, but trust me, it makes it for a much more interesting, modular experience for the game, because you can kind of mix and match things as you see fit. You don't have to keep characters within their factions together, but they do work better that way. What I do suggest, though, is taking your favorite characters and really going nuts with it, because as you can see here, you got a lot to choose from this game. The base game itself has He-Man on one side and Skeletor with all of their characters. You'll see them in a moment. The Box of Power has all of the special characters that were shown off during the Kickstarter. So if you go over to Kickstarter and check out Master Universe and just scroll down through the stretch goals, you'll see every one of those characters that will appear here in the Box of Power. Back here is the Snake Man, my favorite expansion. I love the Snake Man. I think they're awesome. She-Ra and the Rebellion, the Evil Horde, a great one people were looking at. You have the Castle Grayskull. I have that right about here. Let me just, you guys can't really see, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here you go. Here, this is Castle Grayskull. This is the piece that you would get here, the big 3D model that would come for the Assault on Grayskull scenario that you can purchase separately. It's an okay thing. It's really more like a bank to me. My children have stuff like this, but it's still really cool. It's still a lot of fun. The drawbridge would open. It takes a little while to get that thing open, but it does pop down in it. It is fully functional for the game itself, so you can put this on your game mat. Your characters stand on them and everything, representing the different hexes that are on the board. It's really cool. I love just the way it looks. Again, nostalgia for me is just a big seller. And then when I was doing the unboxing for this, my son was having a good time with it too. So if you haven't seen that yet, definitely go check out my unboxing for this game. Moving along, this is just kind of like your all-in pledge with all of your different terrains, your neoprene mat, your extra dice, your exclusive cowl and mantisaur, all kinds of stuff like that. But what's important for this particular campaign is Sy-Klone and Jitsu. These are two characters that were very highly requested during the original campaign in the Kickstarter. As it kept going on, people were like, oh, I bet you Sy-Klone next, or I bet you Jitsu's next. Especially because we had Fisto and Jitsu kind of went at each other, and Sy-Klone is just a really cool, I remember the toy and him spinning around and everything. It was really awesome. So people were looking for these through the entire campaign, and they never came up. Here they are now within the Gamefound one. So if you, again, back this all in, this is the only thing you need to pick up. You only need to pick up these two guys. I think it's like 20 bucks or something like that. You get their figures, you get their cards, you get all their tokens, things like that. But you also get some really good perks in terms of the erratas for this game. This is actually a very important piece of information that I want to bring up now before I go into the campaign any further, because it's a question that was on everyone's mind, including myself, about the reprints and the errata. And as you can see here, Simon's pretty much addressing that. There's a lot of people that talked about the rulebook being very wonky. There's a lot of things in that rulebook that never explained certain rules like the way they needed to be explained, or contradicted each other, or were just not well written whatsoever. And as all this time, that's kind of a big reason why I haven't brought it to the channel yet, because there was so much uncertainty with the game that a lot of people that were playing it are like, well, how does this work? How does that work? You know, when does this work and everything like that? And the rulebook never addressed a lot of these very important issues, including a lot of solo play stuff. But since then, there's been a lot of people out there that have made their own versions of it. There's the Nicholas variant out there, which is absolutely amazing. I may play that on my channel because it's really good. Simon, you guys need to reach out to that guy and get his official variant needs to be within this game. I'm going to tell you right now. But also, the rule book itself has been rewritten. A lot of things have been made a lot clearer. I've kind of gone through one-to-one and I can see where the changes are and everything. It's really good. And it should hopefully add a lot more clarification and whatnot to the rules. As far as, and I like this part, do we get updated components in this campaign? Yes. Firstly, the products will be printed from this campaign. We'll have the card scenario books and rules updates. So anything that's printed for this campaign will have all the updates in it. Now, unfortunately, because I did the original campaign, I will not have those, but any one of you out there that may not have this, you'll get all the updated stuff. It will be correct for you, which is awesome. Secondly, all rewards in English in this campaign, including the Jitsu and Sy-Klone pack, which is the only thing I backed, by the way, for this, will include a set of updated cards free of charge. Thank you, Simon. Thank you for giving me the cards. I can deal with rules updates and going online and trying to figure it out from the books and everything. But when I'm playing the game, I need my pieces to be all uniform and together. And I haven't really started sleeving anything yet, but I really don't want to print anything out and shove it into a plastic, sleeve with a card behind it, whatever. It's just, to me, that's messy, and I'm just not really good at that, and I don't really want to deal with that. So for them to send these cards to anybody that backs anything at all for this game, fantastic. Thank you, Simon. You are awesome that way. So I'm looking forward to this. So let's get back to the campaign and just kind of go over stuff that was pretty much already covered in the Kickstarter originally. Wield the power as He-Man and the heroic warriors. They're the masters. That's the whole purpose of things, are the masters of the universe. They are the masters, but whatever, they're heroic warriors. Or sees it as the evil warriors, so heroic warriors and evil warriors. to conquer Eternia. But you get Skeletor, yeah, you morons. I love it. So this is all base game. You get He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Ram-Man, Stratos, and Orko, and then Skeletor, Merman, Trapjaw, Evelyn, Beastman, and Triclops. Again, each one of them is very unique. They play very differently. They each have their own standee to them. They each have cards that are both a player version, a controller version, and an AI version. So you got a lot of stuff with each one of them. They each also have multiple skills. Every character has 3 different levels of skills, and the skill card is double-sided, so you get to choose which skill you want to use for every game. You could play the same character multiple times in a row, and you will always be something different because you may just try out a new skill or things will come at you differently. It's just so awesome that the way that they had it. But yeah, so this is just base game Clash of Eternia. It does also come with Battle Cat, He-Man on a Battle Cat. It's one of his special abilities. You can either have He-Man running around as He-Man himself, and then you play this card and he jumps on Battle Cat and you actually replace the model, which is awesome. Or you could even just play the game straight up with He-Man on Battle Cat. Absolutely amazing. And then Panther for, of course, Skeletor, his feline steed, if you would. Beastman can control enemies. I think Teela controls high guards. Everybody just is so awesome the way that they play. All of these different minions. And again, this is all base game. Everything you see here, all these different minis and everything, this all comes in the base game. What is it? The Masters. These are the Eternian soldiers. So you can play as them if you're playing on that side. Or you can have these hoverbots if you're playing on Skeletor's side. And then elite versions of both of those, depending on if you have somebody out there that controls them. Again, I believe Teela summons these and Beastman summons these. And then as far as other components, you have your basic board, all of these terrain modules, and then your dashboards and everything. This is for your player characters, which is a vertical board, and then you would actually flip it over horizontally in order to use it for the controller board if you're a controller. So it's really cool the way that they save space using both sides of a card. Very nice. And then the tracker board. The tracker board is very important because this is how you see what characters go in what order. The controller would have their cards down here face down, and then the players would have theirs face down over here. And then when a round starts, this player flips over, they take their turn. This player flips over, they take their turn. Down the line they go. Once it's done, you reset, you put your cards down, and you do it again. It's really a very, very simple concept when it comes down to it. It's just that there's so many different options for each of the characters that you're going to be spending a long time just trying to figure out what character you like the best. And you'd be surprised exactly which one of those would kind of rise to the top of your favorites. I know I was when I was playing it. I didn't think I would like Stratos as much as I did, but man, his movement skills are crazy. This is the rule book that I mentioned. I'm not going to open it up now, but for, again, if anybody of you out there have this game already, have the base game, check out your rule book, check out the PDF here, go back and forth on it. You can see some of the corrections that are made. It's really, really good. What else we got? So here we are. Let's start talking numbers, right? Let's see. We got base. This is unavailable in the US. This is interesting how some of these are not available in the US. Hold on. I see. Note that the retail products are currently available for immediate purchase and delivery. So you don't have to, if you live in the US, back this campaign right here in order to get this. You can just go on to like the CMON retail site and buy it, which is awesome. So if you missed it on the USA, you got it here. But if you're overseas, this is absolutely something, again, you should take a look at. Yes, it gets pretty expensive. You're going to start adding in all your different expansions, all in $345. That's USD. I can't even imagine what that's like in other, when the conversions happen and everything. I have the power, everything from the original campaign for a $47 discount. Hooray! It's probably not going to cover shipping. Still, $445 is nuts. This was an expensive campaign, I'll admit, when I first did it. But, it's worth it. It's worth it for me personally, just because even though it's been sitting on my shelf for a little bit and I've been kind of like hemming and hawing, bringing it back, now that this campaign is out and I pulled it back out and like restarted playing again, I'm like, I don't know why I ever put this game away. But here we go. Right here, Jitsu and Sy-Klone, a 2-pack right from then, for free shipping in the US. So there you go. You get 2 figures, 2 units per backer. So I guess you can buy more than one if you want. $20 straight up. That is my pledge. My pledge is this right here, and that's it. And I am fine with that. However, if I wanted some more stuff, I could definitely do that. Again, Castle Grayskull stuff. All of these plastic pieces and everything I have in the box set up, but Grayskull itself is to the side. And it's colored. Mine is that green color with like the drawbridge is like this brown. I don't know if this was like an earlier, graphic that somebody made that they're just using for this, but it may be green, it may not be, I'm not too sure. But just FYI, you saw what I got. So, a box of power, you can buy that. You can go gameplay exclusives. Oh wow, you can actually get an interesting bundle with the Snake Man and all that together as well. And none of this says not in the US. So, again, I guess you can grab that here as well. Original add-ons. Again, all this is just all pricing. You can see what comes with it. You can see what's there. You get Cowl for free if you go with She-Ra and the Great Rebellion. The Tyrannosaurus. I need the rest of the dinosaur ones. I remember the Turbodactyl, and I can't remember what the Triceratops and the was it a Brachiosaurus? I think it was, or an Apatosaurus. I don't remember. I could be thinking of Dino Riders too. But the Turbodactyl, I remember, was definitely one of them. I had that. There were other dinosaurs from Eternia that were brought into the toys that came out, which is so awesome. So, King Grayskull's in this. You got to have all the Preternians. Mantisaur for Hordak. He rides on that. The neoprene playmat, which is double-sided. One side is your normal thing. You flip it over, and you actually have, as you can see here, the Assault on Grayskull setup right there if you don't have any of the big stuff, which is awesome. The 3D terrain sets are all individual, so if you don't have any of them, or if you're only looking for certain ones, kind of keep that in mind as well. These are the ruins. This basically represent cave structures and everything when you're running around different battlefields, going into one side and then going out the other. You have no line of sight to anybody inside the cave unless you're in there with them, or if they're standing on like the edge or whatnot. You can actually see them at the doorway. The nature set pack, mine are colored. I'm pretty sure these are probably colored as well, because like this is a lake, it's all blue. These ones are all green because they represent plants and everything. With these plants have to be snapped into the piece as well. So don't let the color of this fool you. Each one of them should be a different color and add that type of life that you would like to your game. And then the rocks are really cool because most of the scenarios have rocks in them. The rules for the rocks are very vague. This is one of those problems from the rule book. But what's nice is that if you put one of these on the field and then you take from the box the original like cardboard piece and put it on top of it, it makes it look really nice. You have this 3D layer, like, terrain set to it or whatever, adds a little bit of depth to the game. And of course, if you're on top of a rock, you can actually be like, hey, I'm on top looking down, as you should be. So I would probably recommend the rock set over anything else here. Maybe the ruins as well, just so you have a little bit more idea of where they end and where they don't. But definitely the rock set. And then, of course, always extra dice. Never can go wrong with extra dice. And then we're back to Jitsu and Sy-Klone. What's nice about this is because the game is already technically out, at least here in the United States, you can be able to see what some of these pieces look like, other than what the images are shown within the campaign. So here you go. You have He-Man on Battle Cat. Here is Grayskull, as I just showed you with that color scheme. Here are all of those 3D model terrains, as I talked about, with them being their different colors and everything. And then I like, again, here within the ruins themselves, how the characters fit into there. They're like perfectly measured, to fit within those hexes and whatnot, and the way that they stand around each other. And you have a really big crowded space here. Skeletor, Panther, all the boxes together. Tyrannosaurus next to He-Man. It really is a size difference, which is awesome. I'm pretty sure that Grayskull will be those different colors that you saw. The bad guys are, or at least the Skeletor faction, is this like grayish color, whereas the heroic masters of the universe are this creamish color here. So there are different colors for the figures. I thought that all factions would have their own original color, but I believe that is not the case. The Snake Men aren't green, for example. That's all the minions. That's Hordak's cards. This is the dice that I believe that come with the game, as opposed to the golden marble dice that you would get extra. Which again, I would recommend those dice anyway, because they're pretty. I mean, the base game is nice, that's for sure. But these are just have like a nice sparkle to them. I love it. Here's all the rebellion. You got She-Ra. She-Ra's on Swiftwind, by the way. So whereas He-Man had Battle Cat, Panther, and Skeletor, Mantisaur and Hordak, and I believe that's really it. King Hiss. Did King Hiss ride Tyrannosaurus in that? I don't remember. I don't think he has it on it. I gotta check my box, but I'm gonna say no. She-Ra can jump onto Swiftwind and then use him to fly around and do all kinds of cool stuff. And here again is like the board itself. Normally you would have just plain flat pieces of cardboard with like the terrains on them or whatever, but at least the 3D terrains make it look very nice. And this is what I mean by the rocks. I would use the cardboard pieces of the same shape and put them on top of the rock pieces just to make them look nicer. Now, I tried that with all the other stuff and everything, but it didn't really work out very well. Like it won't fit inside the ruins. I wish it did. The water, I like the water tile, but I love the water 3D set too. It's just interesting the way it's used. And then this comes on and off. So you got to remember that you have to assemble the plants and everything. And I believe that's it. Okay, yeah, so that's it. There's some organization here. I've completely thrown out all of my plastic inserts to try to get everything into 2 boxes. It works. It's tight, but it works. And then there you go. That is pretty much all of the cool components. Shipping costs is always the worst. This is very hard to read. I can't even see that right now, and I'm sure you guys can't see it at all here. There's a lot of big numbers there. I would highly recommend checking this out and, you know, seeing for yourself how much it's worth for you, how much of the game you want to get, because you're going to be spending quite a bit on shipping. Shipping has gone down quite a bit over the past like year and a half or so, and I'm sure it's just going to keep dropping down. So you're going to have to just kind of, you got to grin and bear it, unfortunately. Now, that's easy for me to say, unfortunately, because yes, I'm getting Jitsu and Sy-Klone free shipping to me and whatnot. But if I had gotten anything bigger, then it would have been additional shipping and whatnot. So just really keep an eye on what a lot of these prices are for you out there, wherever you are located in the world. And, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is. You know, the shipping costs are going to be high for a while until something breaks. Who knows? What do we got here? This campaign is actually going to end probably within a week or so of this going up. And then it looks like it's not a bad time frame in terms of get things or whatever. So, and again, I'm just getting the 2 characters, so it shouldn't be that bad at all. And there you have it, everybody. Masters of the Universe, the board game Clash for Eternia. A huge set of minis and nostalgia all wrapped up inside of the He-Man IP that I just could not pass up. This is definitely one of the most expensive campaigns that I ever backed when I first did it, you know, years ago, whatnot, on Kickstarter. And I'm really glad to see that at least Simon is taking the time to go and change things, to correct things, to clarify things, to make new stuff. Even though it's just 2 characters, I'm very happy to see them in there and hope maybe we'll be able to get more stuff as time goes on. I don't think they're going to be adding anything to this campaign. From what I've been seeing on their daily updates, they're just kind of going in and reviewing characters that have already been in the game. You know, they're talking about like some of the like Extendor, Clamchamp, Tongue Lasher, Mosquito, some of the more obscure characters that popped up probably during the stretch goals and whatnot, just to kind of remind you these are some of the cool guys within the Box of Power. They'll probably do the same thing for all the other expansions as well. So I can't see anything new added to this, though I would love to see more AI-driven scenarios. There is a very huge lack of those within the official rulebook. Again, the Nicholas variant, or Nicholas out there, has made a lot of the scenarios into AI scenarios, which is awesome. Simon, please contact him and get him on your team, especially for this game. But at least then I'd like to see more AI stuff specifically from Simon, whether it be something I need to download or it comes in a book or something along that ways. Either way, I'm just very excited to get back into this game and to see that it is not forgotten about after its release. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think of Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia? Was this something that you backed when the Kickstarter first happened 2.5, 3 years ago? Something along that way? It's been a while, actually. Have you played this? Do you know anybody that's played this? Is it something you're interested in? Have you watched any videos, and what do you think of them? I know I very lightly glossed over the rules to this game, but I mean, there's not a lot going on, but once stuff starts to happen, it's like a strategy game in that case, where you only have a certain amount of options, but those options could really tip the tides one way or another within the game. And because everybody goes at random intervals throughout the course of the game, a plan that you have set could be thwarted like that. Thank you all once again for checking out this video as I talked about why I backed Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Home Gamer Dad so you don't miss any future He-Man action or any other fun videos I happen to put out for you to enjoy. If you wish to support the channel even further, there are a bunch of different ways to do that down in the description section below, whether that be super thanks or memberships or Patreon or just simply viewing this video, giving it a like, giving it a comment, sharing it. Things along that ways are all greatly appreciated, and I thank you guys so much for that. You have been awesome. Thank you again. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. We have the power. And until next time, I will see you later.